evening, everyone. This is Brother Brandon coming to you live from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Um, it is good to be here. It's good to be here with you today, this evening. I know I am coming on a little bit late tonight. I understand that, so a lot of you may not see this video. Um, you may not see this video right away, and that's okay. When you wake up in the morning or whatnot, um, you know, uh, when you wake up in the morning and stuff like that, you guys will see this. Excuse me. Let me get a drink of water here, and I'm gonna. All right. So there's a reason why I'm coming on here tonight, and there's a reason what I'm going to be talking to you tonight. Something that's been, I kind of feel like the Lord is sort of leading me in kind of this particular direction for my life at this type of season. is that I this year in 2024, one of the things I just really feel like the Lord wants me to do is really to focus really on really ministry, as well as the job that I have, and as well as ministry. And I actually currently am doing two jobs. And I'm currently doing two. I currently am with two different jobs. But I've actually am going. Tuesday is my last day at basically my part-time job, which was at Domino's. And so I'm gonna be leaving Domino's and just be focusing on really my current job as a security officer, as well as focusing on preaching and my call to preach and the calling that God has for me to walk into. And I've spoken to a couple brothers. Well, actually, a while back, a dear brother in the Lord had suggested that I should go out and see other churches and stuff like that, and it never really hit me till now. Okay, it never really hit me till now that this is probably a good idea, and I've been kind of thinking about just what has happened in the past year, how last year sort of ended, and just some things I just kind of feel like, okay, well, there's probably something to that. And so I spoke to a couple brothers in the Lord, and they and I've even posted on Facebook, and I've had some really good responses. There seems to be a lot of support with this. And so basically, here's what I'm going to be doing is I will be before I say this, actually, no, I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to kind of mention some things, okay? So, I am going on as what I like to call is a visiting church campaign. And what that is with having to be called to preach. Last year, last year, December 20th, 2023, I had the honor and privilege of going up to Norwood on Wednesday nights, on their Wednesday night service, to preach. And the message that I preached seemed to have really seemed to have they really seemed to receive that very well, and God seemed to have really just kind of worked on some people's hearts, that night. And so, as being called to preach, what I like to do is I want to go to different churches and sort of put myself out there with the hopes of maybe that God would use that to sort of broaden my preaching field. And what do I mean by preaching field? What I mean by preaching field is being able to, if there's like a pastor that wants to have me come and preach at their church, then if they ask me to do it, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do is being able to open it up and be able to have the freedom to preach wherever God wants me to preach. Now you might say, well, Brother Brandon, why don't you just go ask churches to preach? Why don't you go ask different churches if they'll have you preach? Well, I could do that. But I think a little bit more effective way of doing that is really being able to develop relationships with these pastors and churches so that they can take the time to get to know who I am, how I believe, what I preach out of, how I preach, and all that stuff. It's better that way than just to full-blown ask a pastor, say, hey, can I preach at your church? No, that's not how I'm going to do it. So I would like to make connections with people. I want to make connections with pastors. I want to be able to go to these churches, and of course, it's going to be kind of awkward at first because I'll be probably going to a lot of these churches unannounced, and I'll be like visiting them. And of course, I'm gonna be taking the time to visit them and all that stuff, and being able to develop a relationship with them, and being able and I'll obviously will visit them on numerous occasions. It just won't be one time. Now, with that said, that's not to say, I'm not saying I am going to be going to another church and becoming a member with them and all that stuff. No. That's not the purpose. The purpose of this is really a couple things. Really, number one, to put myself out there so that people will know who I am. Number two, the purpose of it is to kind of broaden my options to preach. In other words, I want to do this with the hopes that God would maybe open more doors to churches that I can preach at. You know what I'm saying? And I just, that's number two. Is there a number three? I don't know if there's a number three. So, my plan is to really visit these churches. Have fellowship with these people, talk with them, and develop relationships with them and all that stuff. Now, I will say, this is not to what I want to do. This is not to supersede what I do at my church. This is not to, ignore my home church. I have a home church I'm members with. I have a pastor. And I serve there whenever I need to serve there. And so that's going to take precedence over church visits. But ever so often, I'm going to go and I want to make a visit to some churches. And talk with the pastor, get to know them, worship with them. Kind of really sit back and observe how they preach and how, all that stuff. Okay? So, and like I said, all this is really to get me out there so people know who I am. Okay? That's kind of why I want to do this. And so hopefully, with that, there might be opportunities, later on in the future to preach. But baby steps. So last Wednesday was the beginning of that. Now, I was very fortunate that the church I visited at, it was Gospel Light, nice church. They preach out of the King James. I am going to be going back there at some point to visiting them again. And I'm going to kind of do that and talk with the pastor, hopefully, and talk with the people there, and there's a lot of people there that I already know, which is a benefit and a plus. You know, they know who I am. They know how I preach. They know those things. Okay. So it's going to be it was actually pretty much an easy visit. Now, I know some might disagree at first, and I know, and I've been kind of thinking about this on the way home about boundaries, where I want to go. Well, of course, I'm going to be in my area in Fort Smith. Okay, I'll go as far north as I'll go. I'll go up to, I went to Norwood, so that's about as far as I'll go. So the Norwood area, the Springfield area, the Joplin area, even like Anderson, Missouri, all those places. That's about as far as I'll probably go northward. Okay. Kind of like westward, kind of south. I will go as far as Little Rock. Okay, I'll go as far as Little Rock. Because it's not, it's just not, it is what it is. Obviously, so that's kind of westward. Southward, I'll probably go as far, I wouldn't be adverse to go all the way down to Texarkana, though it's about 3.5 hours. That's about as far as I'll go. So even if you were in Texarkana, Texas, or Arkansas, one of those, I'm willing to drive down that way and visit y'all. As far as east goes, it probably won't be too far. It'll probably be like, basically it'll be like Poteau and Sallisaw, those places, okay? That's about as far as I'll go. Now, will that expand? Absolutely. But for right now, it's going to be kind of like an oval kind of thing. So I'll go as far, so again, northward, I'll go as far as Norwood, Springfield, Joplin, and all those coming down south. Okay? No more north or northwest of that. Okay, west and south, I'll probably go as far as Little Rock, or willing to. South, it'll probably be Texarkana or something closer. And then, did I say west or east? I can't remember. Eastward, northeastward, not west. I got my directions messed up. But westward, it would be like as far as Sallisaw and Poteau and them. Okay? So that's kind of my boundaries. And so if any of you live in that area, if you have a church that you want me to come visit, and you live around those areas that I mentioned, okay, leave a comment and all that stuff. Okay, so that's kind of my boundaries. Will it expand? Probably. But that's going to be a good starting point for right now. Now, so, but with this, I'm going to need as much support as I can. That's all I'm going to say. And if you guys want to be a part of it, if you want to be a part of this and you want to support me, let me know. All you all on Facebook, if you're friends with me, shoot me a message. Okay, shoot me a message. But if you want to support this somehow, if you want to support it and you want to be a part of it, of what I'm trying to do, um, let me know. Okay, let me know so I can kind of get an idea of who, you know, because that's a big thing. I don't want to jump into this, you know, with no support. All right, I want people to support me. I want people to be able to, you know, say, hey, I'm with you on this. I'll be praying for you. You know, stuff like that. So, you know, that support is kind of, you know, kind of a big thing. Okay, now how you support this and stuff like that is between you and God. But if you want to be a part of what I'm trying to do, and if you want to be able to help support me in this thing to kind of get me out there, then great. That's fantastic. Pray about it. Seek the Lord. See what He would want you to do. Okay? So that's what I want to say about that. There are some things I'm going to be doing and kind of putting together. And so y'all pray for me on this. And I would greatly appreciate it. Now, with that said, I'm still going to have my Tuesday and Saturday broadcasts. I'm still going to be at my home church, still going to be serving them. And if my pastor needs me to preach on a Sunday night or Wednesday or whatever, then that's going to take precedent. That's going to be the first, like, they're first. My home church is first because that's obviously kind of where my priorities are, you know, first and foremost. But on the side of that, I am going to be visiting churches and stuff like that ever so often. I'm thinking right now it'll probably be like every other Wednesday. So next Wednesday I'll be at church, at my own church. Wednesday after that I'll probably be making another visit somewhere. Okay? So I want you to pray for me. I want you to pray for that. And so it won't interfere with work either. Because I work 4 days a week and I'm off 3 days. And which is really nice that I have 3 days off because it gives me a chance to kind of rest, to kind of, you know, get stuff done, do my videos, get what I need to get done, but also kind of opens up doors for me to be able to make church visits and all that stuff. And so that's the neat thing, and I really believe God has put me in a position to where I really do believe God has put me in a position to do this. He's put me in a position to do this because number one, I'm not in debt. Okay, I have some savings, which is good, which I don't like touching. I have a good paying job. I get paid every week. I get all my bills paid. Okay. And so with all that, I do believe that God has put me in a very decent position to where I can do this. Okay. So last Wednesday night was the start of that. And so my hopes is to continue this and to kind of do some research to figure out which church I'm going next. And like I said, there's things in the works I want to try to do that I like to try to get done and try to do. Okay, so I'm kind of doing this to kind of help get kind of started and stuff like that. I have some things I have some ideas and stuff I want to do, and so it is what it is. Okay, so anyways, but I want to come on here to talk to you about that because I think it's important that you kind of know where I'm at I also think it's kind of important. I think it's important to being able to just share what's been on my heart. Okay, so that's kind of where things are at right now, and things went very well Wednesday night. I mean, very, very well. I if y'all remember, the Bible study I did on last Tuesday. It was on not first. It was Luke chapter 1. What was very interesting was, and some I didn't even know, was when I got in to that church Wednesday night, Pastor Sweener, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm so, if you're watching this, I apologize if I butchered your last name. I'm not very good with names, but the pastor of that church had preached a message. What do you know? Luke chapter 1, and he preached on the Zacharias and him receiving that visitation and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, that can't be a coincidence. Surely that had to have been planned. God had to have planned that. So it was really interesting that the sermon I heard Wednesday night was exactly what I was starting on with my Bible study on Tuesday. It blew me away. It blew me away. It did. So, anyway, so that's what I wanted to come on here and share with you guys. Again, and by the way, for those of you in YouTube land, if you want to support what I'm about to do, please mention in the comment. I'll try to get to your comments if I can, but please do put your comments in there, and I'll try to answer them. If you want to help if you want to be a part of it and you want to support what I'm going to do. Okay? So please, and those of you in YouTube land, leave a comment. Also, pass this along. Pass this video along, because if there's any of you that live near or in those particular area that I outlined, then y'all leave me a comment. Say, come to our church, get to know us. Okay? That's kind of like the beginning process of this, is coming to churches, to all churches, and to get to know you, to develop a relationship with your pastor, with you all, be able to, just be able to have that relationship so y'all know who I am and what I believe. Okay? So, something to keep in mind. But anyways, with that said, that's about all I got. But I wanted to come on here and make sure you guys knew. Okay? So, with that said, I'm going to leave it at that. If you guys got any questions, leave a comment. All you all on Facebook, if you see this, write me an email or whatever. Send me a message on Facebook Messenger. It is what it is. So, but that's all I got. All right. So, tomorrow, Lord willing, if I actually have the motivation to, we're going to be getting into the Masonic and occultic symbols. Okay, so that's going to be tomorrow. Good Lord willing. All right. Other than that, that's all I got. So y'all pray for me, pray for my ministry. You pray just for leading and guidance and direction. I would greatly appreciate that, all right? With that said, I love you guys. God bless you. You guys have a great night. And hopefully I can be a blessing to you all right? Love you guys. See ya. God bless. Bye.